Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast where we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. As always, I'm Shanae Howard, and with me is Thomas Shelby.
Hello.
And Ryan Robinson.
Hi.
It's been like a minute since all three of us have been able to get together. I've missed y'all.
2 weeks.
It's been more than that.
Has it?
Yeah. Well, because, so
3
last
weeks.
week I missed. The week before that, both y'all had to pull out.
Pull out.
And then I think even the week before that, there was something else. Maybe Davis.
I know I was sick, so I had the flu.
Yeah.
I had the bubonic plague.
Sure.
Did you actually?
No.
Prairie dogs still carry the bubonic plague.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
Yeah.
I have been hanging out with a lot of prairie dogs. My mom told me not to, but I just thought this because she thought it was like a bad influence kind of thing. I didn't realize that her fear was the bubonic plague.
Sure.
Okay, it was 3 weeks.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. Life comes at you fast, you know?
Yeah, Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, video game stuff.
Uh-huh.
I was a little bit late today because I got a new phone. I still haven't logged in on Discord on my phone, and also I was playing Marvel Snap.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know. I just feel like I'm just going in like different waves with that game because I like took a break from it for about 2 weeks. And it's just sucking me back in. Like it's just essentially once I find a new card or 2 cards I like, I'm back at it. It's my new Sailor Moon drops.
Yeah.
That I haven't actually been able to wrest my life back from the clutches of that game since I started it, to be honest. Not a day goes by that I don't snap.
Well, I found like a good rhythm with one of my move decks. So I've been playing that a lot because of the Miles Morales and the what is it? Ghost Spirit?
Ghost
Who
Spider?
is it? Ghost Spider. There we go. Yeah, Ghost Spider.
Dog.
Yeah, Way of the Samurai. Forrest Whitaker.
Not video game related, but I went and saw Spider-Man Across the Universe, and so that also like
Across the Spider-Verse. Across the universe
Spider-Verse.
is Beatles.
Yeah.
It is. You are correct.
Very different. That's a
And it's
very
honestly
different
not that bad either for like one of those movies that's like all like singing. Like Across the Universe is pretty good.
Spider-Man?
I thought she was talking about Spider-Man for a second.
No, Across the Spider-Verse is not only singing. Definitely not singing any Beatles songs in it.
Why
But I have some thoughts and feelings on that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody wants to hear any of them.
I mean, look, I haven't seen the first movie or the second movie, so I don't really care, but I'm totally down to hear them.
What about you, Ryan?
As long as you can do it without spoilers, sure.
Well, like how high level of spoilers? Because I can just do whether I liked it or didn't like it.
Yeah, that's
and leave it at that.
That's about the level of spoiler I'm prepared for.
All right. I was unfortunately disappointed, and I didn't want to be because I really liked the first one, but I was disappointed.
Too many African American Spider-Men.
No, the Spider-Men were great. The Spider-Man that they did show was great.
Happy Juneteenth, by the way, everybody.
No. All the Spider-Mans were great. It's just as a story itself and the pacing of the plot line, it just wasn't done well in my opinion. I had a really hard time figuring out like what I'm supposed to get from this movie. And also, I am going to spoil one thing because I feel like if you don't know this, it's going to be a bad time watching the movie because I did not know this. It's like a it's like there's going to be like another one after it.
Oh yeah.
It's not like it's not like a complete story in itself. And so like a lot of those where it's like 2-parters can be done well. Like I think like going into Dune, the newest one, and seeing part 1 when you begin it, I'm like, all right, cool. So I had the expectations that this is going to be a part 1 thing. And even like other trilogies or duologies, or like with Marvel with like Endgame and then or Infinity Stones and then Endgame, like I still felt like each movie had a purpose in itself and was done well. This one, there's just a lot of things that I know are going to happen in the next movie, and I'm just like, all right, cool, but like it didn't need this much foreshadowing, so it's like just kind of bothersome that they left some of these things on like cliffhangers or unresolved.
Yeah.
And like maybe I'll feel differently once the third of the trilogy comes out, but like I just felt like a lot was lacking because they're obviously going to be answered in the next one.
Okay.
Well, that's how they get you, you know?
Yeah, that's how they get your dollar, Shanae.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will
You're
say
gonna
like
see the next one.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I was gonna see. I was gonna see it anyways.
Yeah.
But like the characters are great. The animation, as always, including the first one, was like amazing. I really liked the different styles put together. I thought that was good. A lot of the humor was good. All the spider people were fantastic. It's just like I said, I have a lot of issues with the story. I couldn't tell what plot points were supposed to like be leading to in some of it.
Tom shook his head when you said spider people.
No, just like Spider-Man in general. I like Spider-Man, and I own a lot of Spider-Man as far as comics goes. But like, even the ones I like, I can't think of a very well written Spider-Man story arc like any of them really. You know.
Well, of course, the first Into the Spider-Verse was actually really good. I thought it was like really well written. I thought
and I haven't seen that. I'm just talking about the character in general. Not the best stories, you know, even like the ones that people point to are not like phenomenal. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I liked Spider Island as far as the
Yeah.
comics go. But yeah, like I'm not like I never watched like the animated Spider-Man growing up, and I just like never went through a Spider-Man phase.
Yeah.
So to begin with, like even the live action ones are never like, oh man, I'm gonna watch Spider-Man.
Right. And I
But
say this is somebody who likes Spider-Man. I enjoy Spider-Man. But
Yeah,
like,
so like
I
maybe
don't think any of his stories are particularly good.
shit.
You know.
but Berto really likes Spider-Man, so I asked him like
Yeah.
some of my things that I had issue with, and he's like, no, I felt the exact same way about all of this. So it just has to be like a storyline. But the first,
Yeah.
but highly suggest the first Into the Spider-Verse. Like what draws me into this trilogy is just like the way that they're doing the animation with the different Spider-Man. I really, really love that.
Shanae, there's a scene on the Spider-Man animated on the Fox Kids Spider-Man show where Mary Jane jumps off a building just to see if Peter will catch her.
Not. But what if he didn't? But like, what if he didn't? Then you just die. That's a stupid way to die.
Yeah. It's funny out of context though. Well, I mean it's funny in context, but it's just a very funny, silly scene. Very interesting to see when I was 9 or 10 years old.
I mean, fair enough. But besides Across the Spider-Verse, and well, that's not playing a game. Besides Marvel Snap, I've really just been playing Tears of the Kingdom. I really hate looking at like TikTok or like any social media and seeing what other people are doing, because I saw someone make essentially like a meat grinder machine and was like luring enemies into it.
That sounds really rad.
And I'm just like, I struggle with making a cart or like even like there's like one of the temples I had to make like a gondola to go down like these like sets of bars.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I made a gondola I can't fall out of. Look at me. And then I look at these videos of like these complex machinery and I'm just like, okay, I'm an idiot. I am baby. I've never learned a thing in my life.
Thing. I really like watching those videos, right? I saw one a few weeks ago where someone made like Metal Gear Rex and it's like functioning Metal Gear Rex, you know, like
that's pretty
totally cool. But
yeah, no, I've seen like people making the mechs and I'm just
but most of that stuff, like the meat grinder thing, it's not really useful. It's cool, it's interesting, but it's not really useful in the game, you know. But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really cool torture device. That sounds like.
Once you get, well, I don't know how much you've played.
So I beat one of like the 4 like unusual occurrences or whatever phenomenon. I beat the wind tunnel or the wind temple, which was actually really, really fun. I had a lot
That's
of
the Rito one, yeah. The bird people.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that one. I've been mainly going to a lot of shrines to just kind of like I just did the Rito so I could unlock all the things that you can only unlock after doing one of the phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and I have hundreds of these bright seeds now, the bright blooms.
Yeah.
So I think I'm about to go. I think pretty soon I'm going to do like a chasm thing. I didn't know until I've been playing with my sister, and we've been like calling each other and just playing our games separately.
Yeah.
And she's like much further than me, and it's really funny because like I think I've mentioned it before. Every time I've played video games with my sister, it just feels weird because we didn't play any growing up, and it's never been her thing until recently. So, and she's like telling me about all these things that I had no idea about. I didn't know it was in Breath of the Wild either, that if you like feed the dogs and give them treats, they'll take you to like hidden treasure. Did not know that.
That's pretty neat.
So she's like telling me, and of course, like I go to the one that has like one of the few stables that has multiple dogs. So I'm going to the wrong dogs, and I'm just thinking she's fucking with me the entire time. I'm like, Adrian, there's no like you're not doing. I gave them like 6 goddamn apples. They're not doing a goddamn thing besides loving me, which is nice, but I get no treasure.
Yeah.
So I eventually had to like find it, so that was fun. She's like much better at doing the constructs than me. Even though we both like like she just has more patience essentially because like we both get confused on the X and the Y axis when it comes to turning them.
Okay.
And I'll get like a little frustrated, but I've beaten a couple taluses now. They're like they're fine, but like there's like this one centaur thing I've been like it's kind of where Rito is, but if you keep going north,
the Lionels.
Yeah. I don't know what it's called. All I know is it's one shot me because I went by it, and it will follow you for a very long time without you attacking it back.
Yeah, so those like you'll get the hang of those. They are not the hardest enemy, but one of the harder enemies. You know.
Yeah. So after
but they were in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember names of stuff, but also, I may not have ever like actually beat them, but yeah. So after doing the Rito village and then coming across one of those, I've just been focusing on the shrines, and I didn't know this until my sister told me. But that like when you go into the chasm, that the light roots correlate on the map to where the shrines are.
Yeah,
which is like useful to know, but also tells me how fucking far the next light route is.
Yeah. I mean, you know, that's why you got the bright bloom seeds. There are other things you can use to light up the area around you, including different equipment. But yeah, I'm excited for you to play more of it. Last time we talked, you weren't sure that you were going to enjoy yourself. Are you enjoying yourself?
Actually, yeah, I've gotten to the point where, like, when I first started playing this game, I was like, man, I kind of want to go back to Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And like actually finish it and do all the things and everything. But now that I've played more of this and gotten a little bit more hang of it, I'm like, oh, I can't go back to Breath of the Wild. It's gonna feel so clunky after this game. I have I'm not gonna enjoy myself because it's just I've gotten a lot better about like using the ascent, the verticality in this game compared to the last game.
Yeah.
Especially with the sky, like the way the sky islands are. And yeah, no. It's, I like it a lot more now. I think I just had to get like really into like figuring out what I actually wanted to do. And I think that's because I had just finished the tutorial and I had just gotten to Hyrule that I was just like, I went to the chasm and I didn't realize, and I didn't want to touch the light route because I assumed it was going to do something else because I didn't know anything about the chasm. So I used like all my bright bloom seeds at the time, all my arrows, and was just like constantly dying and losing hearts. And I'm like, how do people even do this? And then I went to the light route and I was like, oh, it'll heal your hearts. Cool. That's actually really good to know and helpful. And then I realized that like, oh, I can keep coming back to this. This isn't going to be like a just this area thing. And then, so yeah, like once I got more, I mean, you're right. Like once I got more used to it, then I definitely started having a lot more fun.
Okay, I'm gonna give you some tips and ask you some questions. Okay, one.
Okay.
Have you found any bargainer statues yet?
Bargainer. Oh, I did get the one inside the lookout tower.
Yeah.
Where
so like he'll give you, if you spend pose on him, he'll give you the locations of his siblings.
so you mean like I thought you meant the one where if you give him like stamina or a heart, you can swap it out for another one.
No, not that.
Not the pose guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he'll tell you where the other statues are, and like they will let you get certain equipment. Like there's a certain armor set that will give you like gloom resist, which is pretty helpful. And then like you're talking about fighting taluses. I think like the big thing with this game was like remembering that you have the abilities that you have, and like with the taluses especially, you know, most of them have the weak spot on their back. Like you can just run up to them and ascend straight through them to their back. You know?
Oh my! I have not tried that yet.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking idiot. Oh my god, that's so smart.
It's always simple shit like that,
that's gonna save me. Oh, so much time and effort. Oh, that's so smart. I'm I'm mad about how smart that is. As you started saying it, I realized where you're going with it. Ugh.
And then if you're bad with like making your own constructs, you will get a lot of schematics for constructs in the depths.
Okay.
Like just like here's a hot air balloon, here's a car, you know, shit like that. And then can I give you one spoiler?
Yeah, go for it. I don't mind.
Okay. It's a kind of a big spoiler because like you could definitely play the game and not find this, although they would give you a pretty big hint at the end, like towards the end of it. There are 5 sages for you to find.
I haven't found any sages that I remember.
Yeah, you did. You did the Rito one. Those are the sages. You did. So you got little bird boy now, right?
Oh yeah. There's 5 of them. There's not 4 of them.
There's 5 of them.
Yeah. Okay. Because. All right. Well, thanks.
Yeah, dude.
Oh man, I feel so dumb about that taluses now. I'm like, that's so smart.
But it's not though, right?
Smart.
There's so many times where like I'm climbing up a mountain, I'm like, oh wait, I could just jump through this thing here, you know? Like it's just remembering you have those abilities. It's like the same thing in Breath of the Wild. I'd be like trying to cross a river, and I'm like, oh, I could just do the fucking Cryonis thing, you know, and just walk across the thing, but just forget it, you know?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's smart. I also like. I really do like the temples so much more in this one. The temples, the shrines. The
shrines.
The one temple I went to was pretty cool, but the shrines are just like a lot more enjoyable, and they feel way less tedious than the first game.
There's one that I really liked where you use Ultra Hand, and it's just a giant game of Jenga.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I did like the one that was like. I've done a couple of them where it just essentially is, what is it, Rat Trap, where you just create the maze for it to go through. Mousetrap. Where you're just taking the ball and like putting it on the like it kind of looks like pinballs, tracks.
Yeah.
And then having to make some of those. And there's some things where I just like keep trying one thing over and over again, and I don't get it, so I look up like how to do the shrine. And it's just like basically what I'm doing, just turn everything slightly to the left, and it's perfect.
Yeah. So I am at the final story quest. I could go finish the game whenever, but I've been trying to do more of the game, you know? I don't know if I'm going to do all the shrines or not. I've done most of them, but like finding them, like once you've done most of them, finding the remaining ones is not easy, you know?
I recently got the golden pony.
Oh yeah. That big old boy.
Yeah, he's a good horse. Yeah, Ryan, you get a golden pony in this game. Is that tempting you to play it as well?
Yeah, I I guess I'm a horse boy apparently, so I'm into it.
Do you find the skeleton ponies?
In the chasm, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the depths, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And then you can find Ganon's horse as well. You can have that thing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wait, is there a specific Skelepony that I'm supposed to be looking for? Because I've come across like
no,
of
those
them.
are all the same, and you can't stable any of them, so it doesn't really matter.
I know, it's so annoying. I was gonna ask you if you could, because I was like, I didn't think you could.
I mean, I maybe you could find a way to get them up there. I don't know how.
Well, I mean, if you
build a hot air balloon or something.
Yeah, if you make a hot air balloon, and next to that, like one where it is just it falling down instead of like having to go through the hole and down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't found any of. Well, I know where one is, but I haven't visited any of the fairies yet.
Oh, it's harder in this one than it was in Breath of the Wild.
They seem like they're in awkward places because I've only seen the one where it's like right next to a town where they literally point to it and it's like, hey.
Yeah.
There's a weird green fairy there.
They are all by stables, but
are they? Okay. Well,
they all want to hear different musicians, so you got to like take these musicians to them.
I'm not a taxi service.
You will be. You will be.
And then my sister told me that I should start like saving up certain resources because you have to like rebuild towns.
Yeah, I mean it's not like Terrytown, but there's like one town that was like ravaged by pirates. That like I had to help them rebuild the town, and that was a pain in the ass because like you get rid of all the pirates, right? And then the guy's like, okay, well I need help rebuilding this town. He's like, I need a dozen of these. I don't remember what it was. It was something I already had, something simple, right? But then he's like, and I need like I think he says like 15 or 20 logs, you know?
Yeah.
And like logs are not an item that you can have in your inventory, so you have to physically carry them, right? And like there's like 100 palm trees on that beach, and he's like, no, not those logs, from the good trees, you know? And the closest trees that are not palm trees is like fucking a couple miles away. So you're just like ultra handing 15 fucking logs together and walking them over there, or turning them into a vehicle and trying to drive them over there. That was miserable. But
you could like make a horse and like have it pull the carriage and put all the logs in that.
Yeah, no, you could totally make something. Yeah, I carried them.
I am a strong man. I just heave-toed them. Yeah, there's like I've definitely done a lot where I take resources from pretty far away. Like there's like one where I know there's another way that you're supposed to do it, and I later looked up and you're supposed to like get like there's 2 trees by it, and you're supposed to like cut them down, and they're supposed to like put them so far and then recall them and like jump from something. But instead, I went to like 2 forests over and got like 6 of these logs and brought them in and like had to like awkwardly position them in this cave to go and then just walked over the water. I was like, it's the same thing again. Forgetting you have abilities, so I just brute force it.
Well, you know, like, have you found any of the Koroks yet? There's a bunch of them where it's like, hey, my friend's over there, take me to my friend.
Yes.
So, like, half of those, I'll, like, have some fancy vehicle and drive them over there, right? But then, like, sometimes I'm just like, all right, and I'll just pick them up and walk them over there, you know?
Yeah, I've definitely done that. I was like, my horse is pretty far, and I don't have the little thing. I don't have the carriage on it, so I'm just gonna ultra hand this bitch over there.
Yeah.
And then like you have to get them like in a specific spot. So many times I put them literally right next to their friend, and they're like, "I need to get to my friend still," and I'm like, "Okay, you're here.
You're
literally here."
So they give you some like really satisfying things with that, though, right? Like. I'm not into, like, you see the whole Korok crucifixion crap online. Like, I don't care. I think that's fucking dumb. But, like, at a certain point, you do get a little frustrated taking these guys to find their friends. And then, like, finally I found one on top.
Pack lighter.
Yeah. Finally I found one on top of the mountain, and his friend's at the bottom of the mountain. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to drop you down the mountain. And it worked. You know, like, the game lets you do that. So,
yeah, I know. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I've been having a lot of fun with that. And then, yeah. But what have y'all been up to? Obviously, I know you've been playing lots of Tears of the Kingdom as well.
Yeah, dude, I'm like 150 hours, something like that. Other than that, I've gone to round 1 a few times and been playing a lot of fighting games there and a lot of rhythm games there. So they've got Tatsunoko versus Capcom Arcade there, which is like fucking great because that only ever came out in the States on the Wii, you know? So playing that on...
Which side of town is this?
I'm sorry?
So, which side of town is this? You said round up?
Round 1? It's
Round
at North Star Mall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Tatsunoko versus Capcom, KOF 2002 mostly just those, but like that's been a lot of fun. Playing that stuff locally has been really nice. And like, you know, we grew up in the States, so our arcade machines, you know, like I have no problem with like a bat top and like hat buttons and all that, but like our fighting games specifically, like we played next to each other, right? Whereas like candy cabs are like opposite ends of each other, which is like you're still playing somebody locally, which is cool. But it's like it feels so much more casual because you're not looking at each other. You don't even have to talk to each other. You just see that somebody has challenged you, you know, and that's an interesting thing to just to experience. It's just different. And then they've got like such a good selection of Bomani games. So I've been playing like 2DX, which is fantastic, and Sound Voltex, and
I don't know what either of those games are.
So 2DX is like Tap Sonic Bold or a DJ Max Respect. Like it's like a 4, 5, 6, 7, like a 7-button rhythm game with like a turntable that you occasionally would hit. It's like the OG of that style of game, like Mania rhythm game. Sound Voltex is a very weird thing with buttons and dials, but I love it. I've been talking about getting one for the home for a long time, but they're prohibitively expensive, so I don't know. We'll see about that. And then I played a decent amount of Guitadora, which, for those that don't know, like that's before Guitar Hero. It was Guitar Hero, you know, and that was a lot of fun. And then, other than that, at home, I've been playing a decent amount of. Recently, Arcade Archives put out home ports for Tetris the Grandmaster 1 and 2. I think on all platforms. But like Tetris the Grandmaster is an arcade Tetris series that is very hard and very, very fun if you're serious about Tetris.
Are you serious about Tetris, Tom?
I'd say more than the average person, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be going to fucking Tetris tournaments or anything like that, but like, I think I definitely take it more seriously than a lot of people do.
You love your some Tetris.
Yeah.
You like Tetris like 20 times more than anyone I've ever met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very good version of Tetris. If you're not afraid to lose, it's a very good version of Tetris.
Yeah.
It's a very high stakes Tetris game.
It's very hard. Like it's fast. It's very, very fast. You know, like you're talking like 4 frames to rotate a piece.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just tried playing Tetris Effect the other day, and I very frequently dropped a piece where I didn't want to.
Yeah.
And that was just I'm just bad at
I love Tetris Effect. I love Tetris DS and all that, but like those are very casual Tetris games, you know?
I'm bad at the casual Tetris, so there's no way I can play hardcore
so
Tetris.
We're below casuals.
Yeah, I'm playing schoolboy Tetris.
Well, so you guys probably heard me talk about, so Grandmaster 2 is the one where like if you can achieve I think if you can achieve GM, I'm not sure. It might be the one above that. And you hit the credits screen of the game. Like, you start playing Tetris to where the pieces instantly appear at the bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is when you have 4 frames to rotate and move them. And once they're placed, you can no longer see them. So you have to remember where the pieces are.
No, I can't do that. That's
that
sounds
like
anxiety game.
Yeah.
So
but $7, so pick it up.
I've been known to. I picked up a few Arcade Archives games from time to time. Like
it's just like they're doing God's work over there. Are they charging too much for it? Yes, but this game has never been, at least to my knowledge, available outside of the arcade. And there's online leaderboards, and that's all you need.
They've cornered the market on hard Tetris.
Also, Ryan, Eureka developed, so Fighting EX Layer and Tetris 99 and all that.
Yeah, I do like me some Fighting EX Layer. I'm a Skullomania maniac.
Well, they got it at round 1, so
yeah.
I didn't even know they had a captain for that game.
There's a Fighting EX Layers on the PlayStation Plus Premium, and every once in a while I think about downloading it, but I never did get around to it. But
oh, I forgot. I also played a little bit of Halo this week with my friend Sean. I did not know, because I just never looked it up, that you can use your PS5 controller with your computer. Because I've been using my old Xbox One, and it's like the port that you can put the wire is just it's loose. I know the cables I have are great to begin with.
Yeah.
But I did find out though, if you ever plug it in, it will automatically change your computer settings to where all the sound comes to the controller. And if you have a headphone on and you can't really hear it because the controller's not that loud, it might take you a little bit to figure out why the game sounds aren't fucking coming through your headphones. Not that it happened to me or anything.
The controller speaker is the greatest invention of modern video games.
Yeah, but I'm still bad at Halo, but I did find that out, which is so nice because honestly, since I really do like the PS5 controller and how it feels, and so I honestly like it better. I had to get a little bit used to because the buttons are slightly shifted a little bit compared to my old controller. But I don't know, it's nicer. It feels better.
Ryan, I also did want to bring up. I know you're not leaving the house a whole lot, but if you do end up getting out to round 1, they've got Initial D there, and I know you used to like that.
Yeah, Initial D fucking rules.
Yeah,
I love me some Initial D. I was actually just watching that anime with a few people a few weeks ago. I've been
watching Demon Slayer.
Oh yeah, I introduced a friend of mine to Demon Slayer recently, and he really seemed to like it.
Demon Slayer is very okay.
Yeah, so Berto had a procedure recently, so took some time off work and he's been resting. He's been watching that, and so I've been catching bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
I don't know any of their names, but they all got nicknames that I feel are pretty apt. You got Queso. He's the little yellow boy.
I don't think you can call them that.
Shut up. The main character is Van's Warped Tour.
Why? Because it's checkered?
Yeah, the green checkered.
That's so dumb.
but am I wrong?
You're wrong.
If someone's like, hey, yeah, that character that looks like Van's Warped Tour, you would know who they're talking about.
Sure.
But yeah, I honestly, I don't know. I've been calling him Guy Fieri, but it's the Flames guy that you see a lot of in the beginning of season 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like him a lot. I think his the fact that he gets so stoked for food and has to say tasty or whatever it is after each bite. I really like that a lot. But all the characters are super charming. Sometimes the animation looks a little bit weird, specifically the enemies. They kind of look like it's almost reboot quality animation.
You talking about reboot from the 90s?
Yeah. I think it's better than that. But like, Demon Slayer is interesting. It's like just very much the most shonen, and like it is very just by the numbers. Like, but like, it's okay. It's entertaining enough. You know,
The characters are really charming. Like
and I will say, like, it's very interesting to me that like of all the things to at least for a while surpass One Piece. It's very interesting to me that it was Demon Slayer of all the things. You know.
I didn't know that, but like the characters are super charming. Like whenever they're fighting the demon train, and
The crazy train.
all the hands pop out, and like the guy with the pig head,
Yeah.
and they like attach him, and he's just like talking back. Like it's really funny. I really like the art style itself. I think is nice, but the story is like very boring. It's boring. Like I didn't know that it surpassed One Piece. And granted, I don't like One Piece, but that's super surprising. Like watching it, I would never have guessed this.
I'm not talking about the anime. I'm talking about like the manga sales while it was in publication surpassed One Piece.
I'm trying to. Who brought up Demon Slayer? Why did like where did this come from?
Shanae brought it up.
Oh, okay.
I brought it up.
Okay, I was trying to remember how we got here.
We're an anime show now, Ryan.
Oh,
So
my bad.
you didn't see the Sailor Moon thing, you know?
Oh shit! Right. Yes.
Luna, the cat has a fucking name.
Okay.
Garfield.
Yeah. It hates
Normal.
Mondays. Heathcliff.
There's a really bad Demon Slayer video game too. So
Is there?
yeah,
What's it on?
I think it's on everything. It's just like an arena fighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like. I do want to know what's up with the villain guy because he always looks different. Like the main demon, I guess that attacked his sister or whatever. I do want to know what his deal is, but I guess I'll just have to like keep on with it. But more than One Piece, that's really surprising.
Not for not look. First of all, Demon Slayer did not run for very long, right?
I have no idea how long it is.
Like,
so
for a short period of time, it surpassed One Piece. I don't know if this is in like Shonen Jump or just Tankobon sales. I think Tankobon sales probably, but you know, lifetime sales, of course not. Just like while it was in publication. But
I was like, I mean, doing lifetime sales. There's like really not much that can compete with like the length of One Piece.
But the only thing currently beating One Piece in lifetime sales is Superman. Like it has already beat Batman.
Really?
Yeah.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Man.
Superman is the only thing that is yet to beat. It will be the number one selling comic book probably pretty soon.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Have you ever played any of the One Piece games?
No, but that new one looks fun. But I don't know enough about One Piece to go play it, you know, and I'm not going to read all those.
That's always been my thing with licensed games is if I'm not familiar with the source material, then I don't feel like I'm going to have a good time because I lack the context. So,
the new one looks fun though.
Or if it's any source material that I plan on getting into, or like in the middle of but just started too, because like I was very confused playing a couple of the Naruto games that I did play before I had gotten further into the series, and I kept expecting certain characters to show up or certain things to happen, to later find out that it was just like that particular game thing.
Look, there's only 36 volumes of Hunter x Hunter currently. And it's been around as long as One Piece. One Piece, there's like hundreds. I'm not reading all of those, you know? And I'm not watching all of that either. That's too much.
But
maybe I'll watch the new Netflix show.
I mean, I bet, they probably condensed it a lot for you, so
yeah,
it was easier that way.
Did you see they released some of the cast photos for?
I saw the trailer for it.
The Netflix Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh yeah.
The pictures. It looks good. Makes me a little bit more excited.
Well, maybe to make you a little less excited, the photos for Cowboy Bebop looked good too.
Those photos actually did look really good.
Go fuck yourself, Tom. I'm allowed to be excited about stuff. I don't need your facts and logic being brought into this.
I mean, I've never seen the Cowboy Bebop live action show, but I'll watch it. It's probably fine.
I've seen multiple live action Sailor Moon content.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some of it's okay.
Sure.
Mainly the plays.
Yeah. When I think Broadway, I think Sailor Moon.
They actually do have some like pretty like selling like plays because there's been like multiple. I know there's like one where they run into like a vampire. I want to say it is the Dracula.
All right. So just to get us back on track, Brian, tell us about Street Fighter.
Thank you. Fucking finally. Okay. So, first of all, Street Fighter 6. I talked to Tom about this a fair amount. That game fucking rules. It's just fantastic. It feels really good. I've put a lot of time into it so far. I think right off the bat, the game it kind of tries really hard to kind of it assumes that you haven't played a fighting game before, which I kind of think is important. So it does a good job of trying to introduce you to like some standard mechanics that have always been in the series, and then also introducing you to new mechanics in the series with like the drive meter and how to use it. And I have been playing a lot of the time that I've been spending in the game has been in this area called the Hub. Basically, the Hub is this place that's looks like a very fancy arcade, and everybody's fucked up avatars are running around, sitting at arcade machines, and you can kind of you see someone sitting at an arcade machine. If they're already in the middle of a fight, you can spectate them. You could queue up to get next, and it's just a really seamless experience so far.
Let me ask you something about Battle Hub, Brian, because all I know is that a lot of people complained when Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear and Dragon Ball Fighters did their online matchmaking in that way.
Mm-hmm.
What makes this better? Because I have not heard as many complaints about Street Fighter doing it.
So I think about how much trouble I had. So Guilty Gear was with Strive, it was mostly fine. I didn't think it was that big a deal. But I remember how much time it took me to get anything going with Dragon Ball. It just seemed like I just didn't really know how to navigate it, and it wasn't doing a good job of telling me how to get into a match or anything like that. With this, it's intuitive in the way that I feel like Strive was, where you see the arcade cabinet and then you just interact with it. It gives you your options to sit on either side, and then you can sit there and wait for somebody. You can enter solo training while you wait for someone to sit at the other cabinet, and it's just as easy as just walking up to the cabinet and playing the game.
Do you prefer it to Street Fighter 3, 4, or 5, or it's just here's a list, pick the one you want?
I think honestly, it's hard to say, right? Because I think that my main way to play the game, I think, would be to just queue up into ranked and then just wait for someone to show up.
Yeah.
I do think that it's just kind of there's a fun about it, because part of it is seeing everybody's funny avatars because they're all grotesque, and it's interesting. And there's things to do in there that are kind of entertaining. So I don't know if I really prefer it. But I do think that I'm not frustrated by it in the way that I'm usually frustrated by lobbies of that style. And it's just it's also it's also fun in that since it's not skill-based matchmaking, then it's kind of like interesting to like see what kind of mixed bag I'm gonna get when I sit down in the cabinet, because I might get some Ryu who doesn't know his buttons, and then
it's just the game's casual matches, right? That's all it is.
Well, it's funny, right? Because like you have casual, and then you have the fighting hub. I think the big thing, maybe the major draw of the fighting hub is that like there's avatar battles in there. Yeah. And so like you can like have like really silly matches with your avatars, and I think that a lot of people seem to be really into that. I don't know, it's neat. I like it a lot. The game just kind of also just feels really good in like the moment to moment, like in a fight, like everybody just feels really, really responsive, and like the movesets all feel like pretty intuitive. What's funny is that like I still like, with as cool as the new characters are, I still find myself defaulting to Kin again. I don't know why. I just really love Kin. But I like the new characters a lot. Except for, I don't think I'm really huge on JP, but I think it's also because like I've never been like that into like zoners. So
yeah.
But like overall though, like I'm really digging like the way that like the game allows me to it gives me a lot of tools to like improve my game. Like all the information that like you can like opt into and out of is really useful. So I don't know, and I think that more than any other Street Fighter that I've ever played, I kind of feel like a really huge potential for myself to like be better at this Street Fighter than any Street Fighter that I've played previously.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. The game moves and feels a certain way that I just kind of feel like always like very comfortable playing it. I also really like the new mechanics. Like the drive mechanic is really fun to use. And I think like also the training tools, like the way that like because they have character guides now, and like they give you like basically how to play this character. They show you all the characters like special moves, and they give you some information. Yeah. They give you some information on like how to situationally use these moves. And they also give you insight.
I've had that, but like I think it just wasn't as in depth.
Yeah. They also give, I don't know if 5 had it to where like they give you insight into like some of the characters' best buttons. And that's really helped me, because like I find a character that I like, and they're like, okay, well, for example, like they told me about like here are some of Kin's like best buttons, and here's the best neutrals of his to use, and like I really enjoyed that.
People don't think a lot about like just neutral single button commands. Like people want to do fancy shit all the time, you know?
Yeah.
We're at the arcade the other day, and you know, my daughter's pretty big into fighting games, and she was playing KOF 02.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, she gets her ass handed to her, and I start showing her like Billy Kane.
Yeah.
Has like this high attack with his staff, you know, and it's like literally just one button.
Yeah.
And I get to the final battle of the arcade mode on 1 credit just using that button, you know, like just that one button, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously that's different than playing against a person, but
sure, not
playing against most people.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, because like most people don't practice fighting games, and so most people have a trash neutral game, so it's like very easy to like overcome them.
Hi, I'm most people. How's it going?
Yeah. But yeah, the game is spectacular, honestly. The drive mechanic is just, it's so fun to use. It's so fun to like use it to kind of like
well, the drive mechanic is like 5 different mechanics, isn't it?
So you got your drive cancel, your drive dash, I think
parry.
Yeah, you
got
the parry, and then you got that it also feeds into your EX. That's another thing too, is that like separating, like having a meter for your EX moves and a separate meter for your critical art. has opened up a lot of like strategic opportunities for me. Also, like the big conversation that I've been seeing a lot about Street Fighter 5 or Street Fighter 6 rather is, modern controls versus classic controls. And for if you don't know, classic controls is just the standard 6-button inputs that the series has always had since Street Fighter 2, and just your specials are input the way that you input whatever specials you're trying to do. Whereas modern controls, like, they simplify that. You have your light, medium, and heavy attack, and then you have a button that you can hold with any of those buttons to do one of 3 different combos. And there are, of course, like, other combos that you can do between that. You have 1-button special moves. So, for example, if you're playing Zangief on modern controls, your spinning power driver is 1 button away. But I haven't, like, I've played a lot of people using classic controls. I played a lot of people using modern controls, and, like, granted, like, those, like, people who use either one are obviously going to play differently. But I don't feel like one was like inherently, more difficult for me to overcome than the other. So I feel like it's largely fine. And, like, I think, like, the biggest thing is people that I know who don't really play fighting games, who are able to, like, get into the game and, like, do, like, and, like, feel like they're doing cool stuff with this control scheme. Like, my whole thing is, like, the game's for having fun, right? So they're having fun, and so, like, I'm very into it. I tried it just to try it. It's, like, very disorienting. I can't do it.
So at least with the last demo, like, the game just chose modern controls by default.
It does do that, yeah. It did do that,
and I really hated that. And, like, to me, it's like, I think, like, classic controls do make fighting games more fun than modern controls, because, like, I remember doing, like, a Hadouken for the first time, and being like, holy shit, I did it right.
Yeah.
Let me do it again. You don't get that with modern controls,
Yeah, but I think that, like, it just depends on, like, what are you looking for when you're playing the game? Like, what is fun to you, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm not going to define fun for someone else. If that's how they want to play it,
I will. I'll define fun
like,
for
Tom
everybody.
Definitely will.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Overall,
I mean,
the game rules,
it feels very similar arguments to people who are very similar other arguments about games getting easier. The modern versus like older controllers, but I also, like, as long as both options are there, I don't think it's a big deal.
I think as long as both options are there and classic controls still give you more options than modern controls, then I don't think it's a big deal. If modern controls give you the same options as classic controls is the day I stop playing your game.
Like, because, like, okay, so if someone's playing modern controls, like, I immediately know I know what buttons you have and what buttons you don't have.
Right.
I know what moves you can do, what moves you can't do. I know how much damage your special attacks are going to do.
Right.
So, like,
well, there's a reason every fighting game that does, like, multiple control schemes gives modern controls a disadvantage,
So, and you can, with modern controls, you do have the option to input specials like the classic way and get 100% of the damage.
It's like Grand Blue Fantasy. Like, that was the same thing. Yeah. You had Smash style controls, but if you did your moves with motion inputs, you didn't, like, what was it? Like, so those have like cooldowns. The special moves had cooldowns.
Yeah.
And if you did them, like, using motion inputs, your cooldown was greatly decreased, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, like, the damage trade-off is only on special moves. Like, your normals do the same amount of damage as as if you were using classic controls. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think one of the, like, a really good moment for me is when when, like, I'm losing and I find enjoyment in that too, right? And I find I find something to be learned from that, and I'm able to like I feel better about how I'm able to adjust after a loss. Also, like most of my other fighting game friends do not like this, but I love watching replays with the commentary on. It's so fun to me. It's a fun little mechanic that I really like.
You got James Chen on there or what?
I got it's James Chen and Tasty Steve on doing commentary on mine, and it's fun. It's neat. I don't know. I don't even know how. Like I remember like how much I was watching this game ahead of release, and like something like I saw it and I was like I was immediately sure of how much I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
And like I'm 100% right. Like I love playing the game. I'm always thinking.
Yeah. So like my plan was to get both this and Diablo at launch.
Yeah.
And then Tears of the Kingdom happened. And then it occurred to me, I'm like, if I think about Street Fighter 4 and 5 and Diablo 3, I'm like, those are like generational games for me. Like, I'm gonna play those until the next one comes out.
Yeah.
So if it takes me a few weeks to get to it, not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and I feel like also Street Fighter 6 is it just like I've been playing it since launch, but at the same time like I get this feeling about the game that there is never going to be like a bad time to like jump into it.
Well, and it's Street Fighter.
Yeah, so it's just I don't know. It's really good. I hope that when you get around to playing it, that did you play any of like the betas or anything like that?
I played their last public demo.
Okay.
Which was basically just they had like a way for you to play AI matches. Like there was no online.
Yeah.
And it was just Ryu and Luke.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to when you get it because I really want us to do some matches together.
Yeah. I hear that the parry is like. I hear that block is almost always safer than parry in this game.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And that's kind of sad, but. Yeah. I knew the parry was not like 3. Like I knew that, but yeah.
And here's the thing. So let's say someone does a drive impact move to you and you're blocking in the corner, it'll bounce you off the wall and open you up for a combo. So that's scary. Also I did want to like, cause you brought it, you mentioned it. I did want to also, well, before that, I want to say, Tom, I finally beat the Evil Within the other day.
Cool.
I finally did it.
It only took 7 years.
Yeah, man. Like, so.
Hey, that's shorter than a lot of the video game developments. So
sure.
If we do comparatively, it's not that bad.
That game is. It's so fun that just like the entire like vibe of that game is just great. That game is so fun. It's campy. The acting is awful, but that's like part of why it's fun. It's just
the only game I can think of where you're collecting brain juice.
Yeah, lots of brain juice. I had so much brain juice. I collected gallons and gallons of brain juice, and I still didn't max out my stats.
Yeah.
And then after I finished it, like I peeked in. I gave a little peek to the Evil Within 2 just to see what it was like.
I hear it's quite good.
Yeah, so far it seems really good. So far it seems. I
hear it does a good job of like blending like semi-open environment.
Yeah,
with survival horror, which is hard to do.
It does seem like it's a It seems very much like open in the way that like Silent Hill kind of is.
Yeah, Silent Hill's just straight up open.
Yeah. Well, like more, it's like what's the word? Open zone. It's like an open zone.
Yeah.
Open zone. Yeah. So far, seems neat. Those brains splatter real good in that game. I also have been playing Diablo 4.
Art's been playing a lot of Diablo. A lot of it.
I like that game a lot.
Doesn't sound like you actually like it.
Well, I mean, I just said generally I like it a lot, but there are things that like there are some things that are like kind of weird to me. I think that the game is unintuitive in a way that like doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. In certain aspects.
Do you think that it's
Really?
like less intuitive than like previous iterations of the franchise?
I think
or do you
that-
think or do you think it's like that because it is like following in the way that franchise like games work?
I think that like if you have any familiarity with Diablo, like it's immediately going to feel like you're really going to be able to get into it. I just think that there are just certain aspects of the game that it doesn't explain very well to you, and you kind of like kind of have to like. There's not any explanation in the game for certain like mechanics in the within it, so it's kind of that's a little like off-putting. But overall, like I like the game a lot. All the classes that I've played so far have felt really good. I'm mostly playing as a druid because he's thick like me, and
That's actually something that Brito like complained about, the fact that like your body build is based solely off your class.
yeah.
But cause like, what if I want to be like, just like super thin, like like body shape, but like do one of these like more warrior classes? I was like, but like it also like, but I was like, it's not that big of a deal in my opinion, and it makes sense. Like if you are gonna base,
like previous Diablos is just like what class, male or female, done. That's it. You know,
well, like
so,
like even like to simplify it even further, Diablo 2, what class? Okay, you are a female. What class? You are a male.
Yep.
And you look like this.
Yep.
Yeah, like I guess but also like a lot of the games that he has been playing lately, like you do have quite a lot of like options
covered up by
options,
gear anyway.
Yeah.
Like options on it because he was like playing Cyberpunk and then he was playing like Elden Rings, and like their character creations with those are pretty like varied.
Yeah, but you're not even gonna see your character in Cyberpunk. Who cares?
He cares a lot. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah,
Diablo 4 has more. It's funny how like because Tom brings up a valid point. Diablo 4 has a lot of character customization options for a game where one, you're looking at your character from like kind of high up, and two, they're covered head to toe in stuff. So
right. Character creation starts with transmog and dies, and that's it. You know.
I mean, and it's you can even do a transmog that makes it so that like all of your gear is invisible, and you're gonna be like out there like looking like the Emperor's new clothes. But yeah, the game is really cool. Like it's actually the first time that I played a Diablo game where like I actually was invested in the story. Like the
really,
like yeah, like I liked pretty much all of the characters in the game. I
like the story in all of them.
I mean, I don't feel like I couldn't tell you the story of Diablo 2 if I tried.
Yeah.
But the story of Diablo 3, I wouldn't say I disliked it. I just don't feel like I was that invested in it. I think that there were like cool aspects to it. But I don't know that I like felt invested in like what happened to any of the characters. But that was definitely not the case. That was definitely not the case with Diablo 4. I really cared about who lived or who died, and it was I don't know, it was a really good story. The game does it really wants you to play with other people like a lot.
Yeah.
There are even some things that you cannot do by yourself. Or not that you cannot do by yourself, but things that would like be close to impossible to do by yourself. But that being said, it's not really hard to, with the way that the game is, set up, like, it's usually not hard to find other people who are just happen to be in that area who will do that thing with you because they also want to do that thing. So, but yeah, the game is overall like it's Diablo with some extra stuff in it, and but like, and which like I think that like, I mean, when I feel like when you play Diablo, you kind of if you're looking forward to a new Diablo, you kind of know what you want. I'm glad. I'm really, 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 really pleased with most of the gameplay elements. So I don't know. I think Diablo 4 is really cool. Just some of the online stuff is kind of weird, but that's about it.
I'm still like very interested to play it. Like 2, I like so much, and 3, as many problems as I have with that game, I still put hundreds of hours into that game. You know.
Yeah.
So obviously, I liked it at least a good bit.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see where this game takes more inspiration. You know, like is it more 2? Is it more 3? I know they want it to seem like it's more 2.
It definitely.
But is it really? You know.
Yeah, I think that like if you look at like when you're playing the game and you look at like a lot of the environments in the game, like you're definitely gonna see like where they try to emulate 2.
Right, and that's not what I'm concerned with. You know.
I think honestly, like it does seem darker than 3, like tonally and thematically speaking. But also like it's except for like the instanced dungeons or whatever, it's all just like this one interconnected like map. It's not like the maps are separated by action anymore. So now they give you a horse.
Yeah.
It is fun to like because there's a special move you can do like to dismount off your horse. Like my druid can jump off his horse and shapeshift into a bear in midair and then slam on the ground, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm more concerned with like how skills are acquired and how those are changed, and so how do rune words work if they, like shit like that.
So with skills, like every level you get a skill point, and then you go down their skill tree. You go down this like skill. It's not like a tree. I guess it's a tree, but you navigate through the skill tree and you apply your skill points. And then if you want to respec, then you gotta pay gold to get your points back.
Is that difficult to do?
To pay the is it too much money or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that like once you're like the higher level you are, the harder it gets, because that's the more I should say the more points you spent, the harder it gets, right? Because like I'm at the point now where my character is level 52, and so I have all my points. I have all the points that I've earned. I have allocated at this point. So if I wanted to refund all those points, it would cost me a sizable amount of gold to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I want it to be difficult to respec.
Yeah.
And I want to not be able to acquire everything.
You definitely will not be able to do that. So one thing that they have added to this game also is that like legendary weapons have these things called aspects that let you aspects like determine like what the weapon does or what the armor does when you equip it, like what kind of effect it'll have on your skills or what have you. And you can actually remove those aspects from that weapon, destroying that weapon in the process, and apply it to a different weapon, or to a different piece of armor. That is expensive. What's that?
Go ahead.
Well, I was thinking that is expensive to do because it's like very resource intensive.
Yeah.
And like some of the resources that you need to do that like aren't necessarily easy to come by. So you have to be thoughtful with how you're switching things around. There are also aspects that you can get that are earned by doing certain dungeons, and you can just apply them to whatever.
There are rune words though, right? Like I believe I remember them talking about rune words being in this game.
So I have not seen. Okay, so the closest thing that I've seen to that is that you have your Paragon board, which is like similar to it's like kind of similar to Paragon points in Diablo 3, except instead of applying them to like a meter or whatever, there's like this board that you navigate upward along, and then you like every time you get a Paragon point, you can fill in a piece on the board, and then you have these glyphs that do different things. And some of them have like certain requirements. You can take these glyphs and you can place them on designated spots on the board.
Weird.
So
yeah, I'll need to look it up because I'm like 95% sure Blizzard said runewords would be in this thing.
Now, I will also say this: I have spent a sizable amount of money respecting my character because I am fickle in that way, and I want to do my character. I always want to make sure I'm having the most fun, and in order to have the most fun, I have to have someone else tell me how to do that.
So, sure.
No, I can't decide. I can't decide my own fun.
I want to be stuck with the poor decisions I made.
The consequences of my own actions? No, thank you.
There will never be a point at which you are truly stuck unless somehow you lose the capacity to get gold somehow. But
well, and even in Diablo 2, right? Like, it's hard to make it to where you have to start the game over.
Yeah,
it's possible, but it is hard to do.
Yeah, there will be there's definitely going to be a point where respecking is going to be very expensive for you. And it's not something that you can just, because like respecking is going to be expensive, and also sometimes like applying aspects to your weapons and armor gets really expensive.
Yeah.
So you have to be thoughtful with how you spend your money if you don't want to have to constantly be like grinding dungeons or whatever to get it. Which I guess you'll be doing anyway because it's fucking Diablo.
Right.
But I think that the game does give you a pretty good amount of flexibility while also making you feel like the decisions you make as far as building your character matter.
Yeah.
I think it's trying
to that's I guess that's what I'm looking for, right? Because like with 3 and even Immortal, at a certain point, I don't feel like 3 started this way, but I feel like it very quickly became just point in that direction and hold the button down and you're going to be fine.
Yeah, so because I think one of the things that 3 had a lot of is like basically every piece of gear that you found had like health on hit or health on kill applied to it. Very few items in the game that I have found have that effect on them, and the ones that do, it's not significant. So like you do have to be mindful of like how you're engaging enemies and like thinking about like you have to put a little bit more thought into your skill rotation. That being said, this game, like, cause I remember playing, cause Diablo 3 on computer didn't have a dodge, right? That was kind of just a console controller thing.
Console only thing. Yeah.
So like, but it didn't really seem like it, to me, it didn't really feel like it did anything. It didn't feel like useful most of the time. With this, like dodging is like an actual thing that you're going to want to think about at certain circumstances. Like sometimes an enemy it'll like have an attack that it'll wind up an attack that'll like knock you over.
Yeah.
And so like you're going to want to like dodge out of the way of that. Or like there might be like AoE attacks or something that you're going to want to dodge out of the way. So like dodging is something that like you are paying attention to, like to the point where the dodges have charges applied to them. So like you can like do two dodges by default before it has a cooldown. Some things will apply an extra dodge charge for you. So it is definitely like an actual mechanic now. I don't know. I think also, but like with Diablo 3 though, with your skills, you could, like you were saying, Tom, like you can like just kind of like you will earn every skill available just by playing the game. Yeah. And like
you will earn every skill, and you literally just walk forward, and you win the game.
And then you could unequip them and like re-equip them or whatever, like as much as you want. You can't do that in Diablo 3. And I have not found a circumstance in Diablo 3 or Diablo 4 rather, where I felt like I could just hold the button down and not worry about it.
Like 2, how many difficulties does 2 have? Like 4, 5 different difficulties, and 3 they like had to just keep adding torment after torment.
Like you get torment. to torment level 70 or something.
Yeah.
So I think Diablo 4 has 4 world tiers.
Yeah.
And there is a noticeable, for me anyway, there was a noticeable jump from World Tier 2 to World Tier 3.
Yeah.
Where I was certainly getting my ass kicked as soon as I went to World Tier 3. So, but I don't know, it's an enjoyable game. And I think that like it is not I guess mindless in the way that Diablo 3
Yeah.
got to. So I think that you'll find it more engaging.
Cool.
So yeah, it's a good game. So that's that's mostly all I've been playing is Diablo and Street Fighter. The only two games
And
that matter
Snap.
for me. And Snap. But like that's like one of those things where like I stopped bringing up like other like games that I play all the time, like fucking Fortnite or Destiny or whatever, because I just like who gives a shit. But like these are some quality games that I was not expecting to like Diablo 4 as much as I do. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I was expecting to like it,
Nice.
but like not as much as I actually do like it. So just killing
Do y'all have
time
anything you wanted to add?
yeah, I'm just killing time till Dragon Dogma 2 comes out.
When's that?
Yeah.
I think like later this year, I believe. I don't remember exactly when, but me and the other 15 Dragon Dogma fans are ready.
So like recently it was announced that Capcom, so every time Capcom does anything Phoenix Wright or Ace Attorney related, I should say, it's always the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't know how many times they've re-released the first 3 games.
How many Phoenix Wright games are there actually?
There's a ton.
Okay.
Just a ton of them. But like, you know, I mean, over the course of many years, they've re-released those first 3 over and over again.
Yeah.
And they finally announced that they're going to do the Miles Edgeworth trilogy of games, which I think is cool. And you know, I got kind of excited about it, and it got me thinking about like, I'm excited for Street Fighter 6, and I'm excited for Diablo 4, and I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom. But you know, then I thought about like my excitement for playing these old arcade games, and playing Tetris Grandmaster 2, and all of this, and Miles Edgeworth coming out, and I'm like, the most exciting announcements to me are still just old ass games coming out again.
That's fine.
You like what you like, man.
Yeah.
You know? And like I have found like sometimes when like it's weird, right? Like sometimes I feel I'm not feeling great, and then I remember like there's some of these old games that I can always go back to, and I kind of feel better. They're like a comfort, you know?
Yeah.
So
But also,
I don't even feel like they're a comfort. Like to me, I'm just like they're better.
Is Miles Edgeworth the guy who has the fucking ascot? Like he's all,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
all okay. Is he a nemesis to Phoenix Wright?
I mean, kind of, sort of an antagonist. Yeah.
Like are they frenemies?
Well, I mean, I would say more so enemy. Enemy is a strong word,
Okay.
but there's definitely not a like there. You know, they don't.
Yeah. They're rivals.
Yeah. Yeah.
He looks like an asshole.
I mean, he probably is an asshole.
I will say my final
Alan Wake 2. Ready for Alan Wake 2.
Oh, so man, Tom, we got to get together and like, because I remember when I first played Alan Wake, you were there with me, and I feel like it was way better that way. Because like I don't know, just having you there and like your fucking jokes made it a lot made it a lot funnier. I need to finish that game though. I would.
It's brief.
Yeah.
You can do it. If you did Evil Within, you could definitely do Alan Wake. That and like Sam Lake revealed that like Alex Casey would be in this game, and I think he is playing him, which makes sense because Alex Casey, at least the way he's been talked about in the Remedy universe, has very much been a stand-in for Max Payne after Max Payne was sold to Rockstar.
Yeah. Oh, they can't even say Max Payne anymore, huh?
Right. Yeah. So, well, who knows now that they're doing the remake? Maybe they'll let them. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, so is Sam Lake playing Alex Casey? Is that just him returning as Max Payne?
Yeah.
And
well, I bet
he's FBI now.
I bet
like who let Max Payne into the FBI?
I bet we will. I bet
makes 4 choices.
As soon as you see him, well, it's like it's weird, right? Because like after the shit that Max Payne pulled in Max Payne 1, they like he's still a cop. But anyway. I don't. I think that as soon as you see him on screen, you will know. Like
they've already seen him. There's already footage of it.
So
yeah,
it sounds like it would
he
be
doesn't
pretty
look
obvious.
The same. I mean, he looks the same in that he still looks like Sam Lake.
Okay,
but like,
is he doing the fucking smirk though?
Kind of.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
it's him. That's who it is.
Yeah. But also, that's just his face.
Well, he doesn't just do that face all the time.
He does it often. He does it often.
I will part with this. So last weekend, I got it in me to watch all 4 of the Matrix films.
Okay.
And
I've done that.
I've had a fantastic time. To the point where I feel like that is probably like, okay, Terminator 2 is my favorite movie of all time, but I feel like The Matrix is my favorite film series.
So look, I really love those movies. I haven't seen the newest one, but the 3, I like them a lot, right? First one, cinema gold. And it feels like the production values were at the time just through the roof, right? But then, like, doesn't the second one feel like a movie made for like TNT or fucking USA?
I don't know. I think that a lot of times when people talk about the movies that came after the first one, they are separated from that first movie by like a few years. Watching them all back to back the way that I did last weekend, I don't know. They all feel the whole thing just feels great to me. I
just don't feel like they feel cohesive. I feel like the first one is up here and the others are like...
I as somebody who also has like somewhat recently done like a full rewatch, and I did that rewatch before Revelations. Yeah, there's definitely some disjointment. I probably would feel maybe a little bit less if I did it back to back recently, but like I didn't necessarily do them like far apart. I did them like a day or two away from each other.
Same. Last time I watched it, I did the same thing.
I don't know, like specifically, like all the like. I guess the first movie just feels so like, I guess, like metaphysical in some aspects that like is just missing from the other 2. Like I really like after watching the first one, you're like, okay, you get it. It's about like, even though humans would be terrible batteries, it's like, you know, taking away from the earth and like, you know, the robots going against and using us as batteries. So I'm like fine with all that. But then the like all the keys thing and like having that one having that one villain with like the super hot assistant who never acted ever again. I looked her up. I was like, she's so hot. What else has she done? Nothing.
Is that the one that like wants Neo to kiss her?
That's not his assistant. That's his fucking wife.
Yeah. Oh, wife, whatever. Yeah, sorry. They fucking hated each other.
It's only a Matrix wife. It doesn't count.
No, listen. Anyway. Look, I will say this. I love all 4 movies. I don't know. They're all great to me. But then after that, I was like, I'm not ready for this adventure to end. I want
Matrix, baby.
Well, see, I did that. I did that.
Okay.
I did all that. So, so someone, I did not know that there were comic books, so I probably checked those out. And then I went.
No, they're not great.
They're not? Okay. Anyway, I did. I finally took a look at that UE5 demo.
Oh, that's so fun. That was so fun.
It was very neat. I had a good time with that. I'm probably going to watch them again. That's my final thought.
I recommend. Ryan, might I recommend?
What?
You dust off the PS2. You play a little game called Enter the Matrix.
Oh, I have that game actually, but I have it on the I have it on the Xbox. So I need you to bring that over here, so I can play that game. I always played as Niobe.
Sure.
Because she is cooler than Ghost. Also, I came away feeling like Morpheus is the coolest character in the trilogy. That's how I feel. And that's it. My final thought is Morpheus is the coolest.
Well, if you want to tell us what games you've been playing or your feelings on the Matrix, we will have a Discord linked below.
Tell us who you think the coolest Matrix character is.
And if you say the fucking twins with the dreadlocks, I'm blocking you. Because they're not the coolest. They're the worst.
I don't know if they're the worst. Okay,
you know what? They're the worst. They have the dreadlocks with the Stevie Wonder hairline, and they're just the worst.
No, who's that guy in the second movie that really doesn't like Morpheus?
Oh, that fucking guy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, he's the worst because that guy's a fucking that guy has narc energy. So yeah, that guy.
Also, that guy in the first one who's like, "I'm gonna just live in the Matrix and eat steaks."
Oh,
it was them, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, but he got his. So
yeah.
Yeah. But we also have social media. You can find us on there. And bye, guys.
Bye bye.